Okay, are we ready? Ready? I think we're ready. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Voodoo Garden. My name is Ray. I will be your host. This is the first weekend edition of 2014. By the way, Happy New Year, everybody. And I think this year is going to be my best year ever because I'm really excited about moving to the new place and starting a new life. And I wanted to do something that people seem to like a lot. And this is Weekend Edition. If you don't know what Weekend Edition is, you've been living under a rock. Weekend Edition is a question and answer session that I do with you, the viewer. And I try to answer your questions as best as I can. So my answers are a little bit odd sometimes, but it's just off the top of my head. I don't research any of these questions. I just take them from you, write them down, sit down, and I wing it. I totally wing it. So I never really know what I'm going to say or if I'm going to say anything. That's what editing's for. But I'm going to try and do this with no editing whatsoever so that you know I didn't cheat and try to look anything up or try to edit out a bad answer or anything like that. So you will see no edit spots whatsoever in this episode. Okay, let's get started. I did copy and paste these from the comment section on the Praxis channel because I asked you in my last episode over there what would be your best gardening question. First one is Jessie. Hi, Jessie. Jessie asks, how do you know when to transplant to a bigger pot? I've heard you wait for the roots to start peeking through the bottom holes, and what if you have a drip tray and no holes? That's a good question. One of the main concerns of indoor gardening is, when do you know when to transplant? Outdoor gardening, you don't have to worry about it at all because that plant's going to grow no matter what in the soil that you have because you have unlimited root space generally in your garden. Indoor gardening, it can tend to be a bit of a problem because how do you know when a plant is root bound? Let me show you something. I brought this out as a demo and I should have edited this out, but I said no editing, and I meant no editing. Come on, you little fatty, get over here. Oh, try not to break anything. Jessie, take a look. When you have a plant in a pot, generally it's one of those things, it's almost like an art form because I have drip trays on all of my pots, so I can't see any roots poking through. That always is not what you would look for because some plants will send down a taproot. And they'll send down a taproot right off the bat. And that root will come out of the bottom and this plant is really tiny and you're thinking, well, going by that guideline, I have to transplant. So that is not a good way to go by if your plants need to be transplanted. Generally what I do is I watch my plant grow and I just look at it to see if it's a little big out of proportion to the pot. You know, if you got a pot like this and you got a plant in it, this is my avocado. Looking kind of fine. I mean, it's not a big plant, it's not a big pot, but you notice the plant doesn't really look that big for the pot size, does it? Well, if you look at this, this is, I don't know what it is. I got this from a friend, and it looks a little bit big for the pot. So you might think, well, it does need to be transplanted. The only way that I know to find out absolutely is to dump it out, look at the roots, and put it back in. Most plants aren't going to go through a whole heck of a lot of shock if you do that. Unless, of course, you have like a big plant like this over here. Then it's a little bit hard to get it out of the pot. Look at the plant. When a plant is starting to get a little bit root bound, it'll slow down on its growth. Generally, there's nothing absolute in gardening, okay? There's very little that's absolute. Generally, I look for a plant that's slowing down on its growth, starting to look a little bit, I don't know, a little off. You know, like it's not really putting out like it used to, and it's not looking as healthy as it used to. And also, if it's out of proportion to the pot, if it seems to be getting a little bit large, generally that is my cue to start transplanting. And look at this. I wanted to show you this. This is the benefits of transplanting. Some people may say, well, as long as you give it or they may think, they may think that if you give it the right nutrients and stuff, what is the need to transplant it into a bigger pot? As long as it's getting the right stuff, what does it matter if it has root space? Well, here is the thing. There are some things I can't explain. This and this are the exact same age. I got them, I chopped off their leaves, the bulbs were the same size. I put them both in this size pot. Well, this one got to looking like this. So I transplanted it, and this was about, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago or something like that. Look at the difference. Even if I bring this one up, see the difference? This plant is a lot healthier. And that's what happens when you get it into a bigger pot. It will start growing again. It'll probably take a couple weeks for it to get going, but then your plant, you'll notice it'll start putting out new growth. Initially when you transplant, a plant is going to go through a little bit of a shock period. That's okay. That's just the plant getting used to its new surroundings. And after it gets ready, boom, it starts growing again. But look for your plant to be a little bit too big and a little bit out of, I don't know, out of whack for its pot size. I hope that answers your question. Ugh. There, everything's out of the way. Next question is from Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. Jonathan is growing a sensitive plant. Oh, you know what? I grew one of those. I've grown those many times. It's called Mimosa pudica. Pudica? Yeah, I think that's it. Well, the first name is Greek. The second name is Latin. Mimosa means sensitive. Pudica means touching something. I don't know. My Latin is really messed up. But anyway, Mimosa pudica is a sensitive plant, and I've grown those. Those are the plants that have like ferny type leaves, and you touch them and they go, nyeh. Nowadays they're trying to sell them as some other fancy stupid name for a whole lot of money. But the weird thing is that you can get them dirt cheap online. You can get the seeds dirt cheap online. You can get the plants at your local nursery, or like Walmart or something like that in the summertime for just a couple dollars. So don't be fooled into buying these plants online whenever they advertise them seasonally, and they are a little bit overpriced. Now the thing about this is, oh, by the way, I'm answering the question and I haven't even told you guys. Okay, Jonathan says, my sensitive plant is not root bound. Okay, it's not overwatered or having temperature problems, but the leaves turn yellow and drop. Just wondering if you have any suggestions. Well, first of all, I don't mean to be questioning you, but have you taken it out and saw if it was root bound? And also, unless you actually know what the plant needs, do you know that you're not overwatering it? Because leaf drop like that, yellowing and leaf drop, generally means that your plant is under stress. And under stress can come in many forms. There is no cut and dried, cut and paste answer for this. Plants will have leaves turn yellow either due to overwatering, underwatering, high temperatures, any number of things. That's just a plant's way of saying, you know what? Things aren't quite right. I'm going to drop some of the load here so that I can survive. That's what plants do. When they know that they can't fully support everything, they start throwing things overboard so that they can survive, and that's how they do things. So if your leaves are turning yellow, and generally from mimosa or from the sensitive plant, from what I've experienced and from what I've seen, mimosa will, sensitive, I call them mimosas, and sensitive plants will drop their leaves if their humidity is not that great, because they come from Central or South America. I think it's Brazil. And these plants need temperate climate. You may think that your house is warm, but is your house really that humid? Boost that humidity, boost that heat. They can take any kind of heat you want, okay? I wouldn't put them too much into full sun all the time, because that tends to dry out the humidity around them. You got to keep them humid, you got to keep them well lit. If you have a room like I do, keep it closed up, keep them grouped around other plants. That'll boost their humidity. And also, keep it warm, keep it humid, let it dry out just a little bit, and then water it. Do not keep it moist all the time. That is not how nature generally works. Even in the temperate climates, they have the rainy season. They get a lot of rain, and then it dries up a little bit. So alternate your water cycle. Let it dry just a little, not a lot. Give it water. Make sure that the soil is well drained. These plants do not like hard packed soil. They don't like it one bit, because if they have problems pushing their roots down, they dump their leaves really, really fast. This plant is literally sensitive. It really does not like anything different. Kind of like some people I've known. They don't like any change. And so keep the soil well drained, light. Don't overwater, don't underwater. And I don't know what kind of watering you're doing. You say you don't overwater, underwater. I have no way of knowing. Don't overwater, don't underwater. Keep it warm. Keep it humid. Humidity is the key, I think, that's going to be making a difference in your plant. So check the humidity and see if it's high enough. If it isn't, boost it. Whatever means you want to use. Trays of water, grouping it with other plants, closing up the room, anything that you can do to boost the humidity. I hope that helps. Next one, Gianni. Hi, Johnny. Gianni, not Johnny. Gianni. What is your opinion about smart pots and air pots? I've heard of these. Do you think air pots work better than regular pots? Okay, let me see if I got this right. My brain is such a menagerie of information. Okay, smart pots are those bags, grow bags, I think, smart pots, and they're material bags, and it allows your plants to breathe and stuff, and they're supposed to be environmentally friendly and stuff. I've never much cared for those. I don't like soft pots. I mean, some people like them. I know a lot of people like them because they make a lot of money. And it's basically, it looks like a shopping bag, you know, a cloth shopping bag, and you put in your dirt and you plant things. Well, they're not very sturdy, so they're about as sturdy as your dirt. So I just never did much care for those. And also the air pots. Those pots are really strange. You generally see them on pot growing forums and stuff because, I don't know, they're into experimenting with different stuff, but regular growers do use them. And they're a pot that's really strange. It's, I believe, a plastic pot that has holes all over the side. I mean, everywhere. The whole pot is riddled with holes. This is supposed to allow, like, I guess when the roots come through, they air prune, which means that the root goes out into the air and it dies. It keeps it from growing around inside the pot and becoming root bound. I believe, this is my opinion, I believe this is a newfangled bit of stupidity. And what is happening is the roots are coming out and they're dying. You don't want to be killing your roots. And plus, yeah, those may go out and die, but the ones that are inside that aren't going to hit that, they're going to also go down and start filling the inside with roots. They may not fill the outside with roots, but they're going to fill the inside with roots because they're not being air pruned. I never did like air pruning. And what I do is I grow them in regular pots, and then I keep an eye on them. That's the whole thing. I mean, people are always looking for methods to not have to get involved with their plants. And my opinion, I know it's a very strong opinion and very focused, if you don't have the time to deal with your plants, maybe you should get plastic plants or not grow at all, because gardening is an interactive thing. And for me, and I teach interactive gardening, so if you don't have time to take, not you, but anybody, if you don't have time to take care of your plants, don't have plants. If you don't have time to take care of your pets, don't have pets. If you don't have time to take care of your kids, don't have kids. You know, what are you doing if you're not taking care of all of these things that you want to have? What is more important to you than that? I know people have really busy lives, but I teach interactive gardening, and so I don't like the idea of air pruning. I don't like the idea of maintenance-free, self-watering, any of that stuff. I like to get involved in it. So you ask my opinion, they do work a little bit, but I don't think that they're functional enough to actually make a big deal about. And they're just a newfangled Johnny-come-lately thing that people love. People always love a new thing. You always see it on these infomercials, you know, how to make an omelet without having to take it out of the skillet. Flip the darn omelet. It's just, I call it stupid. And that's my opinion. I don't like them. And I don't think they work any bit better than a regular pot, because those pots with all the holes, what happens? A lot of air, moisture loss comes out of them. You're going to actually have to interact more with your plant than with a regular plastic pot, because you got to water it all the time because it's drying out all the time. Not a good thing. And you don't want it drying out way down here. Pots are designed to keep the moisture in. That's the whole idea behind a pot. Keep the soil in, the roots in, the plant in, everything in. And if you do the holes, and what if you overwater? You know, soil's going out and insects can get in through the bottom. And no, thank you. Jessica! Hey, Jessica. Do you have tips for growing cilantro successfully indoors? Why, yes, I do. I've grown cilantro inside. I think it was a couple years ago when I first moved here. I grew cilantro and it went nuts. It went nuts. All you need first of all, cilantro is a great spice, and people grow it for one or two reasons. They'll either grow it for the leaves, which in this country, I know I get corrected all the time, but I really don't care. In this country, the United States, where I am, cilantro is the leaves. Coriander is the seeds. They're both basically the same flavor, smell, and everything. I know people think I'm wrong, but you know what? Bite me. Cilantro, I grow it for the leaves. I don't grow it for the seeds because I don't really have much use for the seeds. I don't want to grind them. I like the leaves. I like to eat the leaves. I like the texture of the leaves, the flavor of the leaves, the smell of the leaves. So I grow it for the leaves. I grow it for cilantro leaves. And growing cilantro is so darn simple. What you need is well-drained soil. And that pretty much goes for everything that you're going to be growing. Inside, well-drained soil. I have an episode on how to make my own soil. I use cocoa peat, I use regular potting mix, and vermiculite. This makes an extremely well-drained soil, and my plants love it. And I believe that that is a huge part to my success, is well-drained soil. Regular potting soil tends to clump after a while, and that really blocks the roots, and it also blocks out oxygen, and it makes for an unhealthy plant. Well-drained soil is very good. Make sure that you give it plenty of nitrogen. You're growing cilantro inside more than likely for the leaves, not the seeds, because you don't want to grow up to this big old dead plant with nothing but seed pods on it. You're growing it for the leaves to pick off and put in your cooking, like a little herb garden. So, boost the nitrogen. Doesn't matter what you do to boost the nitrogen, whether it's regular fertilizer, organic fertilizer, a little bit of compost tea. If you get a little bag of composted manure or compost and then make your own tea inside and then water your plant, that's the perfect thing for growing cilantro. They love nitrogen. They love bright light. Give it as much light as you can, and that should do it. If you don't give it enough light, it's going to get spindly and go and fall over. And if you don't give it enough nitrogen, it's going to be all stem, little tiny leaves. What good is that? Nitrogen, lots of light, well-drained soil. You're going to do just fine with your cilantro. Oh, by the way, good luck. Next one. Oops. Next. I'm getting there, aren't I? Okay, next one. Who are you? Put on my eyes. Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea. Chelsea has a long question. Okay, are you ready for this? I have two. Ray, clear your throat. I have two philodendron plants. One I have had for years, and it used to be huge until I let it stay with a friend during a vacation, and I ended up having to cut everything off except one vine. Oh, that's so sad. He really didn't mean to kill it. That was a year ago, and it's still only one vine. Any suggestions on how to make it grow fuller? Yes, I do have a suggestion. Oh, but she continues. Also, both of them, I guess she has two, both of them look dehydrated a lot of the time. I moved here a year ago and they do not seem happy here in the new house. I water them quite often. Uh-oh, I see a problem there. I water them quite often, but they still seem to look dehydrated. So if you have any advice, I would appreciate it. Oh, Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea. I do have some advice for you, and it's going to be so much simpler than you might think. I used to grow regular indoor houseplants before I got into exotics. I actually had, this is something that a lot of you don't know, I used to own an indoor foliage store in Denver. Yes, I did. I owned it for a year, and I used to sell plants at the flea market and teach people how to grow plants, indoor plants, regular plants like palms, ferns. I loved ferns. I was really good at those. Philodendrons were my favorite. All kinds of indoor plants, purple passion plants, wandering, I think it was called Wandering Jew. It's or Moses in a Boat. I don't know what it was called, but I had all these plants, spider plants. Oh, I loved growing those things. But I was teaching people how to grow indoor plants, and one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was philodendrons. Philodendrons and pothos, those get confused. Philodendrons are a bunch of different types of plants. They have the little vine, with the heart-shaped leaf, heart leaf philodendrons, or the tall ones, the big philodendrons that grow up, and you put a piece of wood in there and they send out the aerial roots. And pothos are generally, they look like philodendrons, but they have a thicker stem. Philodendrons with the winding stem, the standing ones, and the pothos, they're all similar in one respect. They do have junctions at each leaf, and you'll see little nodes where aerial roots will come out. And also, if it touches the ground, it will send down roots into the soil. One easy way to make your plant grow a lot better. You ready for this? You ready for this? Take the plant, put it back into the pot of soil, and make sure that those junctions are touching the soil or buried about maybe a ½ inch. All right, you could take a paper clip and just bend it in half into a U shape, put the stem there and push it down with the paper clip to hold it into the soil. Keep it slightly moist. Now, by the way, you say that you water your plant a lot and it's still dehydrated. I got a feeling you're overwatering your plants. That's just my guess. Anybody that says I water them a lot generally is somebody who overloves their plant with a water jug, and that is a big bozo no-no in the voodoo garden. Do not overwater your plants. Philodendrons, along with every other plant that I've seen, they enjoy having their soil dry out just a little bit. It gives their roots an incentive to grow, because if their soil is moist all the time, their roots really have no incentive to go anywhere. I mean, if you sit around, you get fed all the time, you're not going to want to get up and go to the fridge. If you get hungry and nobody's bringing you food, you go to the fridge. Same thing with the plant roots. If you don't water them all the time, if you don't feed them all the time, their roots are going to go nuts and go looking for food. And that is what makes for a healthy plant. So let your soil dry out a bit between waterings. Don't over-fertilize. They don't like a lot of fertilizer. and take the stems and touch the stems into the soil and hold them down there, as many as you want. Because what will happen is everywhere that those roots form down, just like a pumpkin vine outside, it'll make the plant stronger exponentially. And I saw this done in a nursery in Denver, and it blew my mind. Pothos, which is like a philodendron, was growing in this long 12-foot by 4-foot trough, just one plant. It started out on this side, and it grew along the soil, and then they brought it back around, and the leaves started about this big when it first started out. And by the time, swear to God, by the time it got all the way back around, the leaves were like this big, about a foot across. Yes, a regular pothos, or like a Hartley philodendron with leaves that big, and the stem was as big as my thumb. It started out this little spindly stem, and as it went along, they were demonstrating how this will work. And it does work. I tried it myself, and it will grow bigger and bigger, and then your plant will get healthier, and then as it gets healthier, you can take clippings from it and repot it back into the soil and do the exact same thing. They are very easy to take cuttings and put them into the soil. Then eventually you propagate it into a nice, big, full, healthy plant. Okay? I think that'll help you. So anyway, good luck with your plant. Don't overwater. Okay, next one. Oh, last one from Nicolette. Hi, Nicolette. All of the lettuce I tried to grow last summer and all the lettuce my grandpa, an avid gardener, has ever grown is always very bitter, even when very young. Oh, that's odd. Compared to store-bought. Any idea why I tried 4 varieties? I think I might have an answer for that one. Nicolette, what happens with lettuce? The basic, what do you call it? The whole story behind lettuce is a cool weather crop. Lettuce does not like heat. And the weird thing about lettuce is, lettuce loves light, but it doesn't like heat. Funky, huh? So how do you give your plant a lot of light without a lot of heat? And the way that I grow my lettuce is I try to grow it on the coolest side of the garden, behind something like corn. If you're growing outside, grow it behind corn so that it kind of shades it. It'll get the full day's worth of sun, but it's a little bit filtered from the sun by the corn, or grow it around beans or anything that can shade it. Morning sun is the best thing for lettuce. Afternoon sun is the hottest sun, and that is usually what causes your lettuce to bolt. That really hot summer sun is going to cause your lettuce to bolt. Boost your nitrogen, okay? No such thing as too much nitrogen for your lettuce. Give it good, rich, well-drained, high compost soil, and protect it from afternoon light. Water it well, let it dry, water it well, let it dry. And I've grown lettuce in my raised bed gardens all the way through summer, and it didn't get bitter. Iceberg lettuce does not get bitter. So if you want to grow something that doesn't get bitter, try iceberg lettuce. People say, well, iceberg lettuce doesn't have any vitamins in it. That is a myth. And that is a myth that I try to correct, because gardeners with no education, no experience, no knowledge whatsoever will post this stupid information, and people come to me and they say, Ray, is that true? And I'm like, no, it isn't true. Well, somebody told me. Well, you know what? I can't help that somebody gave you the wrong information, or that you got the wrong information. Iceberg lettuce has a lot of vitamins. It doesn't have as much as spinach and some other lettuces, but it does have a myriad of vitamins, minerals, a lot of good stuff to it. It's gotten a bad rap because it has a lot of moisture content, and it's grown commercially. But if you grow it in your garden, you're going to get a good quality lettuce, and it's grown in compost. It's going to be a lot better than that commercially grown nutrient deficient garbage that you get at the store. It'll be a lot better in your garden. But iceberg lettuce is good. Butter crunch lettuce, the real soft lettuce, that doesn't get bitter quite as much. And also, when you're eating your lettuce, I do that a lot. I really shouldn't do that. When you're eating your lettuce, if you have the time, lay out your lettuce leaf and cut out the center stem of the lettuce and just eat the leaves. The center stem tends to hold a lot more bitterness than the leaves themselves. Store your lettuce in the fridge in a bag, and make sure you rinse it off before you put it in a bag. Shake off the moisture, but don't shake it off too much. Put it in a bag with some airflow, and that keeps your lettuce fresh about maybe 10 times longer than just putting it in an airtight bag. Lettuce needs oxygen in order to stay fresh. As far as growing it bitter, grow it in a cool environment. Start it early or start it late in the summer and grow it in the fall. But you don't have to have bitter lettuce. As long as you grow it where it's not going to get too much heat, you're going to do just fine. A little bit of practice. You know, we all have problems with your lettuce starting to bolt and getting bitter. That's just the nature of it. Nitrogen, cool tempers, tempers? Ah, I should have edited that out. Darn it, I almost made it. Cool temperatures will do it for you. And I think that pretty much wraps it up for the weekend edition, everybody. I really do appreciate you giving me your questions. That was fun, and I think I might want to do this again. So if you ever do have questions, and I'm sorry I couldn't get everybody's questions, and I just don't want to do a 30-minute long video. Sometimes I want a short video so I can actually take a breath and not hyperventilate. So if you do have questions, post them down here in the comment section below, and I'll try to select maybe a half a dozen for the next episode. And I have an update on the moringa. Yeah, I do. I have an update on the moringa. So I'm going to do a weekend edition next time on the Voodoo Garden just for you, and I'm going to show you an update on the moringa. And by the way, go to the Praxis channel in a couple days, and you're going to see me do some amazingly strange, really drastic stuff with this Christmas cactus. It's all about bringing your old, tired plants back to life. And this, we can all use information on this. Whether it's a big old Philodendron plant, whether it's a big old Dracaena plant, whatever it is, this will help you get an idea of how you can take a plant and really give it a good new life and get some more growth out of it. So tune into the Praxis channel for that. Make sure you subscribe here to the Voodoo Garden channel for good question and answer sessions here on the weekend edition. My name is Ray. I am out of here. Thanks for joining me, folks. Bye.